Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hashtag Clocked In with me, your host, Jordan Edwards. I'm thrilled to have you tune in as we dive into the dynamic world of productivity, success, and stories of incredible individuals who've mastered the art of getting things done. Whether you're commuting, hitting the gym, or just relaxing at home, this podcast is the go-to source for inspiration and actionable tips to level up your productivity game. I'm on a mission to unravel the secrets of those who seem to effortlessly manage their time and achieve their goals. So if you're ready to clock in and unlock your full potential, you're in the right place. We've got a lineup of amazing guests, industry experts, and thought leaders who will share their insights and strategies to help us crush your to-do list and make the most out of every moment. Get ready to get inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools you need to supercharge your productivity. This is Hashtag Clocked In with Jordan Edwards. Let's dive in. Hey, what's going on, guys? We got a special guest today here. We got Dr. Mike Van Thielen. He's the medical director at Clarence Gen Z Health, an innovative medical company with a new pill providing all the benefits of Adderall without any of the harmful side effects. He's also a treating physician for Boston Neuropain and Psych Centers, helping tens of thousands of patients with chronic pain and mental health conditions. He's a keynote speaker, he's a best-selling author, and he's actually a world record holder in swimming. Dr. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jordan. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you here on Clocked In. So where does your journey start?
Well, when I was born, I guess. No, actually, everybody can hear my accent. I'm keeping it. I'm originally from Belgium. Most people don't know where Belgium is. It's obviously in Europe, west of Germany, north of France, south of the Netherlands. But it's so small, Jordan. I know you're in Florida too. I always tell people it's the size of the Everglades, a lot less alligators, but a lot more good beer and good chocolate. So that's where I'm from. But I came here in 1997. I actually traveled with the Belgian Olympic swimmers in preparation for the Atlanta Games in 96. So we did all of training camps in the US in preparation. Yeah. And at the time, they were actually short of physical therapists. I also have a physical therapy license. So I was recruited here. Actually, the recruiter asked, where do you want to work? And I said Fort Lauderdale, because that's where we did our training camps. And I was in my 20s. I knew all the bars, right? So obviously, that's where I wanted to be. But then he called back 2 weeks later and he said, I got nothing in Fort Lauderdale, but I have something in Ormond Beach. And I go, excuse me? He said Ormond Beach. I say, I don't know where that is, but the beach sounds fine. And that's how I ended up in Ormond Beach, Florida. So
wow. What a leap.
I came here, grew up in a single mom family. So I saved $400, put my jeans on, put a backpack on my back, and I came here. And my friend says, what are you going to do if it doesn't work out? I said, no big deal. It's 10 hours. I'm back home if it doesn't work out. But, we're now, 25, 26 years later. So the $400, I accumulated a little bit more. And I didn't have a mentor when I came here. Again, I had to figure things out myself. And my motto became, you win or you'll learn. So you never lose.
Yeah.
Win or you learn. And so obviously I got cheated on in business, got stolen from me in business. And every time that happened, I wasn't really upset. I just looked at myself and said, how can I prevent this? What did I learn? And moved on and, put my money in a new venture. And That's been a little bit my life story here. But obviously now I feel people don't have to go through those harsh experiences. And if you have a good mentor, and if you listen to people that have been there, or surround yourself with a team of experts, especially experts in areas where you're not an expert in, experts that complement you, then you can reach your goals much faster, of course.
Yeah, you brought up a lot of fascinating points in that little time. The first one I loved is I can always go back. You can always go back to your life that you've had before. And this happens with everything. Like, one of the times is when it was during COVID and I was deciding to leave Tampa and I was actually going to travel around the US. And I had this girl who's now my girlfriend who I was inviting, and she was just saying, I don't know. And the line that got her was, I'll get you a plane ticket and you can leave whenever you want. Because it's that point of like, you can always leave. It doesn't matter. Like,
It's not a commitment. Yeah, it's not a
the
commitment.
world is very small now. The world is very, very small, and it's not this big thing that everyone thinks it is. So that was one. The second thing I really liked is your part about mentorship and finding people in areas that are different than yours. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on, is because you have some very interesting ideas about biohacking and health and just general. And I sit there and I go, I have no idea. Like, people tell me, is gut health important? I'm not sure. I have to find someone who's more experienced than me. So that's definitely one of the values of the podcast altogether.
Sure. Yeah.
So for you, coming to the US, what'd you find to be different, and what'd you find to be like kind of have kept you here? Because it seems like you've gone in different directions and you've had an interesting career.
Yeah, I came here as a therapist. I ended up working at a facility where they did other things too, such as acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine, and I really, found or observed quickly that these alternative medicine practices, they actually got good results without being harmful, because conventional medicine, meaning surgeries and drugs, obviously have side effects and are harmful and really don't take care of the cause of the problem. So I decided, after witnessing that, to go back to school. So I went for a 3-year program. I got my license in acupuncture. I got board certified in Chinese herbal medicine, homeopathy, the whole 9 yards. And then after treating another 1,000 patients, I got disappointed again, because even though these alternative as they're called, they're really not alternative. They're the original types of medicine, but it's conventional medicine that's really alternative. But after employing those on many, many patients, I figured, yes, they're less harmful, but they don't give the long-lasting results that I want either. So I really had to go back to basics. And that's when I decided to go get my PhD in holistic nutrition and look at Mother Nature. Because Mother Nature never lies. And with the PhD in holistic nutrition and looking at animals in the wild, I really came up with, what I think are the truths in health. And they're actually pretty simple. And by applying simple principles, I help people regain control of their health, then optimize their health. And then we can even get into biohacking, which basically means is employing technologies and taking certain foods and compounds to objectively reverse your biological age. So that's what I'm doing. I'm mentoring people on how to do that. Because again, as you know, Jordan, 90% of people here, not just here, but all over the world, we're not healthy anymore. We're addicted to food. We're making the wrong choices. And so what I like to do, Jordan, is I like to help people regain control of their health, optimize their health, and then obviously even reverse their biological age. And I do that through mentorship programs. You can read about those on my website, mvtonline.com or biohackingunlimited.com. But, people lost faith in conventional medicine. They know doctors are not their heroes anymore. They're basically trying to mask or manage symptoms, but they really don't know much about health, about being healthy. They know about pathology and disease, because it's the big pharma that put the curriculum of the medical schools together. So, I mean, that's just a fact.
Interesting. So let's dive into what'd you learn about nature? You said that there were several key principles that were very simple for everyone to understand.
I urge everybody to do that. Is just always ask yourself, what do animals in the wild do? Obviously not our pets, because, we have conditioned them and they get the same disease that we do. But when you look at animals in the wild, they do certain things. For example, they only eat once a day. Actually, the Romans, the Greek, Moses, they only eat once a day. Our digestive system is only designed to digest one meal per day. So when people say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, I have to laugh, because it's by far the least important meal of the day. And so I can explain why it's the least important meal of the day. But when you look at Mother Nature, animals, they eat once a day. They go after their prey or whatever they do, they eat it, and then they go rest for hours and hours in the shade, because digestion takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy. So most people can relate to that. If you have a whole 5 to 8 working day and you go for lunch and you eat a lot, How do you feel when you go back to work in the afternoon? You know, you don't feel like working, you're fatigued because now all your energy is going to digesting food. And so you feel fatigued, you can't get the job done because your energy is going to digestion, right? So that's just one simple example. Another example would be food combinations. So we tend to, as humans, combine our foods, meaning carbohydrates with protein is the best example, meaning a spaghetti with meatballs, it's carbs and proteins, or a meat sandwich, which is carbs and protein. So the problem with that is when we eat that, our digestive system doesn't know what to do because carbs and proteins need a different pH in the stomach in order to break down. It's a different acidity that's needed. And at the same time, there's different enzymes to break those down. For example, if we eat meat, our pH needs to be different, but our enzyme's called pepsin. If we eat carbohydrates, we need amylase as the enzyme, and the pH is different. So when we eat them together, our body doesn't know what to do. So it's going to say, okay, we'll do the proteins first, which takes 4 to 6 hours. Meanwhile, the carbs are sitting there, and so they are fermenting, and all we're getting now is toxins, and that's why people get acid reflux, indigestion, and all those types of simple symptoms. And when that happens, they go to the doctor. The doctor prescribes them the purple pill, Nexium, and everything's supposedly solved, but it's not solved because we didn't address the cause, which is combining the wrong foods. So now years later, this same person who has ignored the cause of the symptoms develops probably a stomach ulcer. Again, we're going to ignore the cause of the symptoms and we're going to cut out the ulcer. And a few years later, the ulcer is now become a stomach cancer, right? So we never have addressed the cause of the symptoms. We only have masked the symptoms. And meanwhile, the disease continues to evolve until it's something very serious, which could have been managed very easily by giving that person the information or education that they need. It's like, look, you should not combine these and these foods because that's causing your indigestive problems. So when we address those, the cause could have been solved in 1 week versus having these symptoms evolve. And so many times with those principles, you just look at Mother Nature. Another thing is like we're drinking.
Yeah, one
Go ahead.
That's really interesting. And because you bring up a lot of different points where, like, we were always told breakfast is the most important meal. And like, so for you, do you only have one meal a day? Like,
yes,
do you only
especially when I'm training for something, when I'm in the zone and I want to accomplish something, I really tighten up my diet, my supplements, etc. Because when you eat at one meal a day, it should be in our society, it should be early evening because it takes several hours to digest. So it needs to be digested before you go to sleep because sleep is very important. During sleep, we need to repair, regenerate, and renew. So let's say we eat at 5, 6 p.m., go to bed at 10 p.m. So digestion's over. We get a good night's sleep. We wake up. So now we have all the essential nutrients available from that early dinner. So why would we eat? Why would we burden our digestive system again? Our body has all the nutrients it needs to go to work. And if we would eat again or have breakfast, we're going to be sluggish again because our digestive system has to work again. It doesn't make any sense at all to have that breakfast. So that's how simple it is. It's usually just common sense.
That's interesting. And then what about, so when in the day do you work out then? Because usually again, it depends. Usually I like to work out at lunch. Sometimes, it doesn't allow me to, so I got to work out early in the morning. But usually my morning routine is I get up, I meditate 10 minutes. Then I usually do a brain dump on paper 10 minutes so I can focus on what needs to be done today. Then I usually do my cryo bath for 3-4 minutes. Again, I don't eat breakfast and I just go to work. But usually what I do is I do juice. I do 2 juices a day. So I take my juice to work. And when I feel a little bit hungry or thirsty, I just get that juice. But juice takes 10 minutes to absorb. I mean, it goes straight to my digestive system and I got all the nutrients that I need. So I do juice during the day, but I really only have one meal, and that should be early evening. People ask me if I'm hungry. No, I'm not hungry. The reason I'm not hungry, Jordan, is because when you get all the essential nutrients your body needs from a healthy meal or from juicing or from high quality supplements, ideally the combination of those, your body is not sending out the hungry signal. It's when you eat a burger or when you eat a bad meal and when it digests
and the body didn't get what it wanted, for example, your vitamin C or your omega-3, it's going to immediately send out that hunger signal again because it needs what it needs and you're not giving the body. So when you eat unhealthy, you eat a lot more and a lot more frequently. When you give your body all the essential nutrients it needs on a daily basis, you're not going to have that hungry feeling. And it does take a few weeks to adjust because most of us confuse hunger with appetite, right? And there's a big difference between hunger and appetite because we're all addicted to food. I mean, you can have a good breakfast and then go to work and somebody brought in donuts and you smell the donuts and everybody's eating them. Are you hungry? No, you just had breakfast, but you're still going to grab one because you want one. And that's the appetite, right?
Interesting. Yeah, that's the discipline coming in. So then what is that meal that you'll have? Like,
well, again,
what are some of the different options?
People think I'm a health freak. I'm not. My principle, or what I believe, is that as long as you give your body all the essential nutrients the body and the cells need on a daily basis, they can repair and replenish and renew themselves optimally. And so if you do that, it's okay to get your taco on Tuesday and to get your pizza. It's okay to have those also. The problem is 99% of Americans, they only eat bad foods. And therefore the cells are forced to use incompatible nutrients, less potent nutrients to replace and repair themselves. It's like having an original and making a copy and then making a copy of a copy, then you can't read it anymore. It's the same with our cells. If you don't give them the essential nutrients they need to replace, repair, and renew themselves, there is degeneration and mutation, which is disease and cancer. So you don't have to be health freaks, but you need to give your body all the essential nutrients on a daily basis. And then it's okay to get those 2 beers or get the taco on Tuesday.
Interesting. And then what are some of these major nutrients that you see people like your clients missing out on?
Of course, you always can do a nutrient profile to see what your individual nutrient deficiencies are. But I really am not a fan of the ranges that our conventional medicine came up with, because when you fall in normal, usually that means you're barely alive. So you need to be in optimal ranges, because those ranges, the nutrient ranges, they come up with those standards in World War II because they wanted to find out what the minimum amount of certain nutrients are for our soldiers in the World War to stay alive, to ration them, basically.
Oh, wow.
And they still are using those. So when you do a blood test and you're within normal limits, it basically means you're barely alive. And so so you need to be way above that when it comes to your nutrient profiles, right? But we can certainly use those to see where you are and objectively monitor any progress. But to answer your question, most people, obviously, everybody knows, are low on vitamin D because we don't spend time outside anymore. So we need more sunlight, not necessarily heat like in Florida. Me and you are in Florida, but we need sunlight. We're low on antioxidants. Our CRPs, our C-reactive protein, is usually high, which measures our systemic inflammation in our body. So we consume way too many inflammatory foods, and we need to include anti-inflammatory foods and supplements. Amino acids, we're usually low on amino acids, essential vitamins and nutrients. A lot of people don't eat their vegetables anymore, or not even fruits. So you're going to be low on minerals like magnesium, potassium. That's why people get fatigued, get muscle cramps, get restless leg syndrome. And you keep on naming all those things that are caused by micronutrient deficiencies.
Wow. And then the second point you brought up is about eating the combination of carbs and proteins. So how would you recommend that? Do you just break that down and doing one or the other?
Yes. So you can make your spaghetti without the meatballs and with lots of vegetables, or you can eat your steak without the potatoes and eat the steak with your broccoli or your asparagus, but don't combine the protein with the carbs. Same with a meatball sandwich wouldn't be a good idea, right? So that will really reduce a lot of strain on your digestive system, because your digestive system has to separate them, has to use different pH, has to use different enzymes. So something's going to be waiting there and it's going to be rotting, right? So now you don't get the benefits from your food. You get all these toxins, which causes your acid reflux, indigestion, and all those types of problems. Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, you've heard of all those. And many times they're easily resolved with what I just told you. Another thing is fruits. People try to be healthy. Maybe they eat fruit, but fruits you only can eat by themselves. You have to eat them in between meals if you eat more than one meal. Because again, some people say, oh, well, I'm going to eat some fruit, some watermelon after my meal as a dessert. Well, so the another thing though, when we look at Mother Nature, Jordan, is that, all animals only drink water. Imagine that. There's no energy drinks, there's no coffee, there's no tea. They only drink water. And so obviously, even the doctors keep telling you got to drink more water. We don't drink water anymore. We're dehydrated. It causes a lot of issues because, our system is a plumbing system. Our cardiovascular system needs to move, or things clog up, which is your plaque and your cholesterol supposedly and all those types of things. And our lymphatic system, which is usually overlooked because our lymphatic system is part of our immune system. Our lymphatic system brings white blood cells to our areas to fight pathogens and viruses, etc. And so it's a plumbing system, and plumbing system needs to move. And guess what? Water makes it move. Water makes things stream, makes things flow, and those systems need to flow. So yes, we need water, and yes, we need to move. We can't sit still all day long. Movement doesn't mean you have to play organized sports or go to the gym, but you need to be active. You need to be moving, whether it's walking or dancing or playing with your dogs or grandkids. It doesn't matter. We need to move and we need water. But to go back to the animals, they only drink water. And usually my pet peeve is milk or dairy, because milk is toxic. And if you think about it, it's really a perversion, right? Because we drink milk of another species. Just think about it. It's milk from a breast that's intended for the calves of another species, and we're drinking it. It doesn't make any sense. That doesn't happen anywhere in Mother Nature. It's only the youngs of the same species. And what happens if we wean off the breast or the youngs? They start drinking water. So why not humans? Why, if the baby comes from the mother's breast, it should start drinking water? But instead, the dairy industry has been so successful in the propaganda of milk products. And that's why breakfast is promoted. The cornflakes are promoted because they want to sell milk. It's a dairy industry that has really caused ill health in Americans by trying to sell their product and promoting breakfast. And there is no use for milk. And even our own biology tells us that, because everybody can look this up. When we are born, we have an enzyme called lactase. And lactase breaks down lactose, the milk from the mother's breast. So the baby can benefit from it because the baby needs the immunity, build the immune response from the mother. It needs the nutrients from the mother, right? So the baby needs that. But when the baby weans off the breast, approximately 1 year of age, we as humans stop producing the enzyme lactase. So we can't break down lactose anymore because Mother Nature intends us to start drinking water as soon as we wean off the breast. So when we keep giving our kids 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, and even adults still drink milk, we get all kinds of issues because our body can't break it down. That's why many people are lactose intolerant. Many people develop allergies. Many people develop excess mucus production, sinusitis, and the list goes on. There's no reason to incorporate milk in anybody's diet. You got to drink more water. And again, that's one of those things that Mother Nature shows us,
Yeah, no, of course. And I've always been a big proponent of water and the movement. And the thing is that a lot of this is so simple, and people they don't realize it, because like drinking enough water, I was talking about it with a buddy, and he's like, I drink a good amount of water. I'm like, how much you drink? He's like, 4 water bottles a day. Like, I'm like, the 12-ounce ones? And he's like, yeah, like maybe half gallon. I'm like, dude, that's just not even close. Like, and he's
the problem with that is too, normally, because we like to always say, how much do you need to drink, right? And of course, it's very individual. But at the same time, if you don't drink anything else, you're going to be thirsty and you're going to be drinking, right? But if you drink a lot of other stuff, you have your 2 coffees, or you have an energy drink, or you have your lemonade, or you go out for dinner and you have 2 glasses of wine, obviously you're going to drink less water because,
of course,
you're drinking the other stuff. But ideally, when your body is in normal or / optimal health, You just got to listen to your body. Your body will tell you when you're thirsty. Your body will tell you when you're hungry. Unfortunately, all those signs have been kind of screwed up because we're not listening to our body, and we confuse hunger with appetite, and we confuse thirst with appetite, right? We drink many times when we're not thirsty, and so we need to go back to basics. And once we get our body back to in a normal condition, our body will tell you when you're thirsty, and that's when you drink water. So, ideally we go by the warning signs of our body, but in order to get back to normal, we just got to drink as much water as we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. Super interesting. So in regard to, you mentioned earlier about biohacking.
Mm-hmm.
What is biohacking? I've heard the word, I hear it a lot. What's going on?
Biohacking is a very broad term of all kinds of applications that we can incorporate into our lifestyle. And those applications all have the attempt to objectively reverse our biological age. So basically, yes, for example, I'm going to be 51 here soon. That's my chronological age. My biological age is 45, but I'm working on it because I want it to be 40 and 35, etc. And you can measure that objectively. So, there's many ways of doing it. There's epigenetic testing. What most people heard about is telomere lengthening testing. Your telomeres are the end caps of your chromosomes that protect your DNA in each and every cell. And as we age, the length of those telomeres shortens. They shorten until there's no length, there's no telomeres anymore, and basically the cell has no function anymore. So with a simple DNA test, we can measure the length of the telomeres. And let's say we do that, and then we start incorporating these applications and biohacking techniques, and we measure again in 6 months or a year, and those telomeres are longer. When we do this telomere lengthening test initially to set a baseline, and then we incorporate all these biohacking strategies and applications, we can measure again in 6 months or a year. And so if your telomeres become longer, that means your biological age is reversing. You are actually getting younger. And that's obviously the beauty about biohacking, is getting younger.
Wow. And what would someone do to, you named off a couple of tests, but how would someone go about that?
Of course, you probably need some guidance from somebody like me, but we have to address all aspects of our body. We got to biohack on a cellular level. We got to biohack our mind and our brain so we can be more focused and sharper and increase our productivity. We can do that on a muscular level. We can do our cardiovascular system. And so we have certain dietary guidelines. We have certain supplements that are very unique, that are specifically designed to optimize mitochondrial function and basically repair our DNA. Because wear and tear is there, our cells break down and our DNA is broken down and damaged. And so we have an innate DNA repair system. Our body can repair DNA, but in most of us, again, probably 95% of us, the system doesn't work because that system needs fuel. And the fuel for our DNA repair system is NAD+. And so there's many strategies to make sure that we have ample NAD+ in our body. That's just an example, right? And we have enough NAD+ in our body will repair all the damage that's done. And that's part of reversing our biological age. There are certain supplements, certain nootropics for our brain, certain strategies like cold baths, vibration therapy, PEMF, which is your Beamer meds and your pulsed electromagnetic frequencies, all those types of things that we can do even while we sleep, because I sleep on a bed cover that protects me or shields me from EMF, that I plug into the grounding, an electrical outlet, so it feeds me negative ions to counteract the free radical damage, and has infrared. So while I'm sleeping, I'm actually reversing my age and recovering faster, etc. So there's too many to talk about today, but there's many strategies and technologies that we can implement based on somebody's goals and based on where they are health-wise to start feeling better, feeling strong, feeling vital, feeling focused, being able to get the job done, be on your A game, crush the competition, deliver that crazy knockout sales presentation that you've been looking for. We can get you there, because most people today, they're sluggish. They are feeling fatigued. They, their intelligence hormones are out of whack. They're not balanced. They basically can't perform. They're distracted by the social media. They don't know what to do. They're depressed. They're anxious. I mean, that's what's going on. Even cards, because they all are anxious. They're depressed. They don't know what to do. They can't focus. They're distracted by the social media. And so those are all the things that we can help with.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I see this becoming a much bigger issue among, like, I take my lifestyle pretty, like, I would say decently serious. And there's definitely moments when you're like, yeah, I'm just tired. Like, why am I tired? What's the reason?
Yeah, something's out of balance, right? So, so the one of the supplements that I promote because it works very well is called Focus Plus by Clockedin Z. Everybody could get a free sample at clockedinz.com. You can get free samples and see if it works for you, because it's always the best test, right? Does it work for me?
Yeah.
But it's basically a natural alternative to a drug like Adderall, because Adderall obviously has many side effects. It alters personality, increases your blood pressure, could increase the risk for heart disease, even death. So who wants to be on that? But in order to focus, in order to increase your productivity and maximize your focus and be on your A game and get the job done, you need to balance and optimize your 5 intelligence hormones. So those 5 hormones, Jordan, are dopamine. Dopamine obviously is the hormone that gets us in the zone. So in order to focus, we need to be in the zone. So dopamine is important. But dopamine overload can be very detrimental too. So we can talk about that a minute if you like, in a few minutes. But dopamine is important because it gets you in the zone. Then we have serotonin. That's your hormone that regulates your emotions. So serotonin is important. Then we have epinephrine and norepinephrine. So those are our hormones that are part of our flight and fight response. But at the same time, they have been shown to be very effective in promoting focus. That's why epinephrine is banned in sports and even in esports. So then lastly, we have acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is one of those hormones. When it's balanced, it really helps to be focused in stressful situations. It helps with photographic memory and those types of things. So when we can optimize those 5 hormones, we really are in the zone. And so I stumbled upon a natural product called Focus Plus, which is able to modulate and optimize those hormones, and actually has a quick effect. It works within 30 minutes. Most products out there, it takes weeks and weeks to build up into your system before you even can feel something. And that's because the main ingredient in Focus Plus is a biocitroid. Biocitroid is a patent-pending terpene of a specific type of citrus fruit. Actually, it's a blood orange in the pristine rainforest of Southeast Asia. And so biocitroid has been shown to be able to cross the blood-brain barrier. So that's why this product has a very fast effect and puts you in your zone within 30 minutes without any of the negative side effects of an Adderall, for example. So many entrepreneurs, business professionals, but also top athletes, MMA fighters, football players are using this because they really can stay focused on the game. I just talked to a golf player. Usually when he misses a putt, it keeps lingering. That miss keeps lingering a few more holes. Just like somebody on the field, when they miss a catch, they don't get over it immediately. It affects the next few plays. But when you can focus, and when you can focus on the end result, on let's win the game, those small mistakes don't carry over into the next play. So even sports people really swear by this natural Focus Plus supplement, just because they're so honed in and zoned in on winning that even a small mistake during the game is not going to carry over into their next place. And even training, if you're just talking about training, if you can be more focused during training, you're obviously going to have better results from that training session. So that's what we call a nootropic. It's something that is natural versus a smart drug, which is not natural, that has similar effects than a smart drug. It's optimizing, getting your brain at the optimal level so you can produce and you can focus.
Wow.
You should try it, Jordan. You will like it.
That's incredible. I'll look into it for sure. One of the other things you mentioned was dopamine and an overload of it.
Yes, so I said dopamine is important to be in the zone, but 90% of people today have what we call a dopamine overload. What does that mean? Dopamine is what is also sometimes called the reward hormone, because when dopamine squirts out from the brain, you kind of feel good. It's when you get a pat on the back from somebody that says, good job. So sugar gives you dopamine overload. Energy drinks do. Accomplishing something gives you dopamine, but today we are bombarded with social media, right? So everybody's on their phone way too long, because when we get a like, when we get a heart, when somebody likes our comment, we get a little squirt of dopamine and it feels good. So now we're going to seek for more. And that's why most people continue to be on their phone and social media, because it feels good to get that recognition, even if it's from a stranger. And so combined with a sugar-loaded diet, energy drinks, alcohol and social media, we have a dopamine overload. But what that does, it balances those it puts those intelligence hormones out of balance, because the dopamine is in excess. And when the dopamine is in excess, what it will result in very quickly is fatigue, brain fog, inability to focus, inability to produce, because the hormones now are out of balance because we have too much dopamine. And it's very hard to get out of that dopamine overload. So Biocitroid and the Focus Plus is able to get people out of that overload and balance those hormones again, so you can focus again and get out of that brain fog and get out of that fatigue and get, be able to focus on something again, because most people can't focus for even a minute.
Wow. Yeah, it really is. And I mean, if you think about, because I do, I'll sit here and I'm like, you got
our brain is not designed either for this technology-driven society, because I read not too long ago, each one of us, Jordan, gets 40,000 messages input every single day. 40,000. Social media, TV, everything that's coming to us every minute, 40,000. Our brain cannot manage it. So good business people are getting organized. So that's why in the morning I do a brain dump. I got to get rid of a lot of stuff. And so when we do email and social media, we need a virtual assistant, or we need some kind of an AI platform, or some kind of a personal assistant, could be an actual person, to manage that information for us, whether it's virtual or a real person, so we can continue to focus on what's important to us. Because most people really don't even know where they want to be, who they want to be, because when we're young, I mean, do you remember what superpower you wanted, Jordan, when you were a kid?
Yeah, I wanted to be the Flash. I thought lightning was cool. He was so fast.
And so we all have those dreams about who we wanted to be. But then at a certain point in time, probably our parents told us that's impossible. So most of us basically settled for ordinary. And some of us still are trying to keep our dreams alive and do whatever it takes to make those come true. So to the listeners, I tell them, you really need to sit down and decide, what is it that you want to be? What are your dreams? Who do you want to be? And then basically based on that, decide what you want to do, because we all are involved in many projects. So the first thing people need to do is get rid of the projects that do not fit in your dream. Because many times we do things to help other people's or to make money. But if it doesn't fit your dream, we got to get rid of those, because they're taking up too much of our time. We need to prioritize. We need to set goals. We need to set a plan. And so once we know what our dream is, and we know what we accomplish, we need to make a plan. And when we have a plan, that's when we need to attract or get to the experts to make that plan come true, because you probably can't do it by yourself. So you need to surround with the people that fit into your plan to accomplish your dreams. And that's what you need to focus on every day. Here's the keyword again, focus on every day. is your dream, your plan. And everything that doesn't fit your plan, get rid of it. Get rid of those projects. Get rid of the people that don't contribute to your plan, the people that put your plan down, the people that won't help you realize your dreams and your goals. You got to get rid of those. If you own a business and if your employees, if they don't fit your values, your course, if they don't produce, fire them. Most people keep people on working for them way too long. They don't fit, let them go. You got to get the right team around you to accomplish those dreams.
It was, you were at it was basically talking about eliminating projects. I thought it was fantastic. I was like, whoa, this is incredible. And
my next book is exactly about that. So,
really?
Yes. So, you can look at my books on my website, biohackingunlimited.com or mvtonline.com. If you go to author page, it gives you the cover of the new book already. And it's about exactly what I just talked about, focus, increasing productivity, knowing what your dreams are, your plans. It's going to be about all that.
Awesome. So I know we have like a couple minutes left, but where can people find you?
Me personally?
Yeah. Or where can they get the sample, all of it?
Yeah. All right. So for the listeners that want to try the Focus Plus product, it's a free sample. So you got nothing to lose there. Just see if it works for you. You go to clockedin.com, and that's where you can get your free sample. If you're interested in any of my books or speaking engagements or any of my mentorship programs, you can visit my website, which is MVT, Mike Van Thielen, mvtonline.com or biohackingunlimited.com. It's the same website. You can find my mentorship programs, my books, my keynote speaking, my YouTube channel. Everything's right there in one place.
Okay. Amazing.
Thank you for reaching the end of the podcast. For that, we'll give you a complimentary coaching session in the link below with Edwards Consulting. Hope to see you there and have a great day and keep clocking in.